Hey, in this video, we're going to take a look at some other examples using the for each tag. So what we're going to do is actually make use of HTML tables with the for each tag, and we're going to display information for a list of students. So here's the big picture here. We're going to have this student object. It's going to have three fields. It's going to have a first name, last name, and a Boolean field if it's a gold customer. And then what we're going to do in our JSP is we're going to load up an array list of students, and then we'll actually loop through those students using the for each tag, and we'll use that to build up an HTML table. All right, so that's the big idea. That's the big plan. Let's go ahead and start coding. All right, so I'm in Eclipse. For this tag demo project, what I'm going to do is actually start off by creating a new Java package first. So I'll move down to the Java resources directory to the source folder. I'll do a right click and I'll say new package. And for the package name, I'll give com.lovetoCode.jsp.tagdemo. And once I'm happy with that name, I can go ahead and click the finish button. Okay, great. So we should have this new package created for us right now. And what I'm going to do here is actually create a new class in this package, and I'll create this new student class. So I'll do a right click. I'll say new class. The name I'll give for the class is student. And on this screen, I'll keep all the other defaults, and I'll just hit the finish button. All right, so let me go ahead and expand the window here for a second. This is a very basic class. It's going to hold the first name, last name, and gold customer for the student. So I'll say private string first name, do a similar thing here for last name. I'll set this Boolean field for gold customer. And gold customer is like a VIP customer or a special customer that we may give special privileges to later on. All right, so those are our fields. Now what I want to do is create a constructor. So I'll use an Eclipse trick. I'll right click, I'll choose source, I'll say generate constructor using fields. And so Eclipse will come up with a list of all of the fields that we have. They're already pre-selected. If not, you can hit the select all. So they're all there. And then go ahead and hit OK. And Eclipse will actually generate a constructor for you, which is really cool. So here's our brand new constructor that Eclipse built for us on the fly. And this looks really good. So this saves a lot of typing and coding that we have to manually do just by taking advantage of Eclipse. I'll also do a similar thing here for our getter and setter methods. So I'll let Eclipse generate this for me also. So again, I just do a right click. I move to the source and I'll choose generate getters and setters. Eclipse will bring up the window. We need to move over to the far right, click select all, make sure everything is checked as far as first name, gold customer, and last name. And again, once we're happy with this, we can go ahead and click the OK button. Okay, this looks really good. Eclipse created a lot of code for us here. So it created getters and setters for the first name, for getters and setters for last name, and also is gold customer. So really, really good information here. Great work by Eclipse. We were very productive. All right, so let's go ahead and save this file, and we can move over to our JSP page. So in my web content folder, I want to create a new JSP page. So I simply do a right click. I choose new file. And the name I'll give for this file here, I'll call it for each student test.jsp. And again, from there, we can go ahead and click the finish button. All right, so let me go ahead and maximize this window again. And again, I'll also make use of my cheat sheet to drop in the tag lib for that core tag library. All right, so remember, we need to have it exactly the same here as listed. Also, I'm going to need to make use of some packages. So I'll need to do an import on javautil.star and also do an import on our package we just created com.lovetocode.jsp.tagdemo, and that's student class. Okay, great. So that takes care of our imports. So we imported two items here, the Java util package and also the student class that we just created. So this looks pretty good so far. All right, so I'll set up a scriptlet here. And again, what I'm going to do here is set up our sample data. So I'll just create an array list of students. And again, this is normally created by an MVC system. But for right now, we're just doing a quick test just to bootstrap our system. So the first thing I'll do here is create an array list of students. That's just empty right now. And in this array list, I'll go ahead and add a new student. So I'll say new student. I'll use a constructor for John Doe, and then gold customer is false. And then what I'll do here is I'll just kind of copy paste this line X number of times, and I'll just add some more sample students here. So let me just copy this and then just paste it 1, 2, 3. All right, great. So I'll go through and just change the names here real quickly for Maxwell Johnson. And then I'll do a similar thing here for another student, Mary Public. And then I'll actually change her Boolean value. Instead of false, it'll set it to true. And remember, that's for our gold customer, our special VIP customer. So this looks good so far. So we basically set up some sample data that we can use in our application. Oh, and there's one more thing I forgot. So we have to set this value as an attribute on the page context. So page context set attribute my students, comma, and then I give the actual reference to that array list data. All right, so there we go. So we're really set up now and ready to go. Good job. All right, so I'll just go in here and I'll just set up some of my HTML stuff, body. All right, so for here, I'd like to go ahead and make use of this for each tag. So here I'll say for each, the variable equals temp student, and the items equals $ curly brace my students. And again, remember, it's the same name that we used in the set attribute up on line 13. And now I can make use of my JSP expression language here to display information for the student's first name, the student's last name, and also their gold customer status. And remember, with the JSP expression language, what actually happens in the background is that they'll call the appropriate getter methods. So when we have temp student dot first name, behind the scenes, it'll actually call temp student dot get first name. A similar thing here for last name. They'll call temp student dot last name. Now for gold customer, it's a little bit different because that's a Boolean value. So here it'll actually call temp student dot is gold customer. But all of that work happens for you automatically behind the scenes, and that's part of the built-in JSP expression language. All right, well, this looks good so far. Let's save our file and let's go ahead and try it out. So I'll go to this file here for each student test.jsp. I'll do a right click and I'll choose run on server. And great, here's our output. So we have the student's first name, the student's last name, and then we have a value here, true or false, if they're a gold customer or not. So this looks really good. So at least at this point, we have the raw data being displayed. What we can do is we can actually dress it up to make use of HTML tables. And I'll do that here in a second. So I'll move back into my JSP file here, and now we're going to make use of HTML tables. So let me go ahead and set up a basic HTML table tag to get everything started. So I'll set up table, I'll set border equals to 1. And I basically want to include all of this stuff inside of the table. And now I need to set up the table headers. So we can have the headers for the first name, last name, and gold customer. So first off, I set up a table row, and then I set up table header entries. So TH is for table header. So I take care of a table header for first name, and then I just repeat the process for last name and also for gold customer. And that'll give me the appropriate table headings at this point. All right, so those are the table headers. Now let's go ahead and move into the for each loop, and let's take care of the table rows for the data. So for each, basically for each student here, I want to set up a table row, and that's for TR. And I'll get rid of that break. We don't need that anymore. And so for each element here, what I'll do is I'll just set up a cell. So a cell is TD for table data. So angle bracket, table data. And another thing here for TD, and I'll do the same thing for first name, last name, and also gold customer. So I'll just kind of repeat this process X number of times here. Just give me some white space to make it look pretty. And that's pretty much it. So this is our for loop and our table rows. And now we make use of table data for each one of those elements there for first name, last name, and gold customer. So that's the bulk of the work here for doing our HTML table using the for each tag. So let's go ahead and save this file. And now just go back to my browser and I can simply refresh it because it's a JSP page. So I select the little link here to refresh and voila, there it is. So we have our HTML table that's generated. So we took care of our headers along the top. And then for each student in that array list, we simply displayed a table row. So this looks really, really good. Great job.